Hi, and welcome to The Work of Warriors, a podcast dedicated to bringing mental wellness to the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Kim Rappage. This is our first introductory episode, and I'm so excited that you're here, and I can't wait to dive in. But first, a trigger warning. In order to have powerful and transformational conversations, we are going to have to talk about painful topics such as abuse, assault, addiction, suicide, and the word trauma will be present in probably every single episode. So I encourage you to listen to your body and trust yourself. And if this doesn't feel like a safe space for you, please take a pass. And while our conversations will be centered around mental health, they are not a replacement for professional mental health care. If you are struggling, please reach out to your local community resources or call the National Suicide Hotline, which is 988. I will share more of my story in later episodes, but for now, a quick introduction. I am a mental wellness coach, and I work with high achievers from entrepreneurs to entertainers, artists, and executives. I used to be a therapist, and I built a successful private practice that I ran for 10 years. And for various reasons, both personally and professionally, despite all of my training, despite how much I loved my job and my work, despite all the inner work I had done already for years on myself, I hit a very dark season emotionally. I found myself contemplating my very existence. And I had to make a life or death decision, literally. And as I chose life, and as I worked with a trauma-informed coach, I discovered different parts of my story and how my trauma was still impacting how I was perceiving and navigating the world. Fortunately, I was able to learn even more skills on how to fight for myself and how to care for my inner child and continue to heal. And while it was a painful season, it was entirely worth it. I improved my communication, my relationships, and finally got consistent with my health and my fitness, which is something I had struggled with my entire life. I made some major life changes, and I left the traditional field of mental health. I sold my private practice, and I built a coaching model based on the aspects that had helped me transform my life. And ultimately, out of that season, the Work of Warriors was born. By traditional definition, a warrior is someone who sacrifices themselves in order to save everyone else. And when I think of a warrior, I think of somebody on the front lines and they're going to battle and they've got their sword and their shield, and it makes me feel safe and like somebody's fighting for me. The entertainment industry is filled with people who are sacrificing so much, their privacy, their time with their families, their mental health, all to make the world a little better for the rest of us. So in a highly competitive, fast-paced industry with high expectations, unrealistic schedules, that definition of a warrior is actually dangerous. We've all had our hearts broken by losing an artist or an entertainer because they sacrificed literally everything. This podcast is dedicated to the artists and creatives that we've lost to mental health, addiction, and suicide, and to those who are still suffering in silence. So in this community, a warrior is defined as someone who takes care of themselves first before they try to make the world better for the rest of us. The Work of Warriors is a safe space for artists and creatives and influencers alike to come together to talk about mental health, to share their experiences, their dreams, their tragedies, and their triumphs. Most importantly, it's a space for us to come together and talk about our healing journeys. So why the entertainment industry? I get that question all the time. Think about the darkest days or seasons of your life. And now think about what got you through. Think about the books, the movies, the television shows, the music, the poetry, the art. Think about what you were doing during the pandemic. Think about the influencers, the musicians that got you through. When our world is upside down, whether individually or collectively, it's the artists who save us. And this space is for them. We are going to hear from filmmakers, musicians, comedians, managers, authors, and more. And we are going to hear from people of all ages and different stages of their careers. Our guests may have thousands of followers. They may have a few hundred. Everyone has a story, and I refuse to buy into this notion that you have to have a certain level of career success or fame or social media status in order to be worthy of sharing your story. Our guests are from all walks of life and all different stages of their career, each one of them regardless of their fame or status or success. is a warrior. And the healing journey is unique. It's individual and it's different for everyone. There's no cookie cutter blueprint on how it's supposed to be done. So some of our guests may be sober for 3 days, and some of them may have been working with top trauma doctors in the country for years. So if you are going to be part of this community, I just ask that you embrace every guest that comes on to share their story, because by doing so, they are fighting for themselves. There's this vast misunderstanding in our culture that if you are famous or super successful or wealthy, or you have millions of followers or millions of dollars, that somehow you get to escape the painful emotions that come with being human. The conversations in this podcast are going to help us redefine what it means to be successful, and that's going to be based on individual definitions. We are going to normalize the conversation around mental health and the fact that mental health is health, and the reality that success and fame do not bring true joy or happiness. Believing that our worth is in the hands of millions of strangers is literally dangerous. And if it were true, we wouldn't see so many successful artists and entrepreneurs fall to mental health and anxiety, depression, addiction, suicide. We wouldn't see families falling apart on our television or on our phones. If we are going to destigmatize issues around mental health and encourage people to get the help that they need and deserve, we are going to have some tough conversations. And that's what the work of warriors is all about. No amount of fame, money, success, followers, sex, drugs, alcohol, pornography, the list goes on. No amount of anything can save us. The only thing that can save us is us. We are all humans who struggle with adversity and challenges and tragedy. We all experience painful situations in our life, and we all experience painful emotions. We all experience loss. This is human. This is a safe space where we can come together and normalize prioritizing, taking care of ourselves, and that we can help one another through conversations, through sharing our stories, so that we can help each other heal. When we heal, we stop hurting ourselves and each other, and that's powerful. I believe that if we can bring mental wellness to the entertainment industry, we can bring mental wellness to the whole world, one warrior at a time. I'm your host, Kim Rappage, and this is The Work of Warriors. I'm so glad you're here, not just listening to the podcast, but I'm just so glad that you're on the planet. Take good care of yourselves. If you want to follow along, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and share any episodes with someone who could use a little hope and help in being human.